Tonight, the spike in COVID-19 cases continues with 2 cases confirmed on Friday. The Prime Minister announces enhanced COVID-19 protocols, including a voluntary curfew. And the St. Lucia Tourism Authority reacts to Barbados removing St. Lucia from its travel bubble. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovely St. Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Friday the 30th of October 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. St. Lucia's second wave of COVID-19 continues to intensify, with daily updates announcing confirmation of more cases. On Friday, the news arrived that 2 new cases of COVID-19 had been confirmed by the Ministry of Health. Rochelle Gonzalez begins our reporting.
On Friday afternoon, the Ministry of Health made fresh announcements of 2 new cases of COVID-19. This brings the total number of cases diagnosed to date in country to 78. The island's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar George, gave the breakdown of the new cases.
Case number 77 is a 34-year-old male from the Castries district. Case number 78 is a 31-year-old female from the Gros-Islet district. Both of these cases were identified through the contact tracing process and following testing for COVID-19 were placed in quarantine while awaiting their results. Both cases number 77 and number 78 are contacts of case number 55. As per protocol, arrangements have been made for their transfer into care at the respiratory hospital. The Ministry of Health today recorded a recovery of 1 case of COVID-19, resulting in 50 cases now being active in care in country.
Dr. Belmar George made reference to the outcome of a meeting held earlier on in the day, which resulted in a number of advisories being announced.
The government of St. Lucia announced a series of advisories which will be in effect for 30 days. These advisories have been introduced to secure the health of our nation. With every challenge comes opportunity. The Ministry of Health therefore encourages everyone to utilize these 30 days to improve how we regulate our movements and behaviors to reduce the risk of exposure. These 30 days provide us with adequate time to form new lifestyle habits. With reduced movements and more time to be within our homes, it is possible for us to improve our family life. Do not allow yourself to overconsume things that are worrying and stressful for you. Rather, find time on a daily basis, doing this to improve your mental health and to help distress. By doing so, we can all at the end of the next 30 days be safer and healthier people, not only as it relates to COVID-19, but also in terms of our overall health and well-being.
The CMO asked the nation to continue to practice the guidelines that reduce exposure to the virus. The Ministry of Health and Wellness will continue to provide regular updates as new information becomes available. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
During an update to the nation, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet announced several measures to enhance protocols in response to a spike in COVID-19 cases. Effective immediately, mass crowd capacity and business operating hours have been reduced, and members of the public are being asked to voluntarily adhere to movement limitations from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Shaka Wooding reports.
Against the backdrop of a spike in COVID-19 cases and projections for continued increases, local authorities are implementing stricter protocols in order to control the spread of COVID-19. Following consultation with the Chief Medical Officer, the Command Center, and other relevant stakeholders, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet announced a series of enhanced protocols effective immediately, which will remain for the next 30 days. Amongst these protocols is a limited movement advisory in the form of a voluntary curfew between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. daily.
Recommendation of voluntarily limiting movement between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. Essentially, asking people to take personal responsibility for their movement and encourage staying at home between the hours of 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Cease all business operations and commercial activities by 9 p.m. Essentially, this will assert a minimal operations approach. Exemptions will be listed. This recommendation aims to discourage the physical spread of people during typical hours of high-risk business activity island-wide.
The Prime Minister announced that schools will remain closed until further notice, and as for the adults, working from home is encouraged if possible.
Public and private educational institutions should extend the closure of compounds and ensure continued learning via alternate and telecommunication mediums. This recommendation aligns with those aimed at reduced physical activity and mass gatherings. Work from home where possible. All agencies and businesses should implement a blended service operations approach where possible for the employees.
The PM went on to announce adjustments to the protocols guiding mass crowd gatherings, further disclosing that bars are now to operate at a grab-and-go basis only.
Mass crowd events are reduced from 50 to 25 people per venue, per activity. No special provisions will be extended for ground, space, or structural provisions. Sale of alcohol is permissible. Grab-and-go businesses at bars only. All bars and restaurants to close by 9 p.m.
The PM is hopeful that St. Lucians will respond positively to these protocols by showing high levels of adherence. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
Now, there are implications for St. Lucia given its current spike in COVID-19 cases as countries reassess the risk of travel to and from the island. Barbados has reassessed St. Lucia's risk from low to medium, which would now require travelers from St. Lucia to produce a negative PCR test. Upon arrival, travelers from medium-risk countries must produce the COVID test. Failure to do so may result in a traveler being denied entry to the country. Travelers from medium-risk countries must also wear a mask while at the airport and undergo health screening. The public relations manager for the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Jermaine Georges, reacted to news of St. Lucia's move from low to medium risk for Barbados.
We at the St. Lucia Tourism Authority acknowledge that the Barbados Authority has seen it fit to remove St. Lucia from the travel bubble, and we truly understand why, and it is for the same reasons that St. Lucia in the past had removed other countries from the bubble. And of course, when the level of community spread is noted, all effort would be around the health and safety of a nation. And so while for us it is of concern, we understand the measures that the government is putting in place to help curb the spread or the transmission of COVID-19 on the island, and we really look forward to brighter days ahead.
Stay with us. Still to come, the home of opposition leader Philip J. Pierre is burglarized. A flood warning is issued for the island on the 10th anniversary of Hurricane Tomas. And St. Lucian Franco journalist Caroline Popovic speaks on the Martinique lockdown and the similarities to St. Lucia's COVID experience. That and more after the break.